Welcome here to the most important part of the city of Prince George. That is the wastewater treatment plant. You don't want this to go down, that's for sure. And we're going to learn about how it works today with Shane. Great to meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you guys too, thanks.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about this. When was it built?
Treatment plant was built in the late 60s. There, started the construction, and then it's gone through several upgrades since then. We had the big upgrades in the 70s, in the late 80s to early 90s, and then there was the 2008 upgrade bringing us away to getting us to the centrifuge just so we start creating biosolids there. So it's gone through several upgrades there, but it was constructed in the 60s.
Wow. Okay, and how many people roughly work here to keep this working?
Keep us working. I have 8 operators. So first things is we work 365 days of the year. So we have 2 shifts. We have a Sunday crew and a Saturday crew, 4 and 4. They're overlapping crews. And then me and my foreman and the lab tech are working Monday to Friday. So 8 operators, my 2 foremen, myself, 10, 11, and my lab tech 12. Then we also have tradespeople here. They do start out of their own division, the tradespeople, but we have our plumbers, our electricians, our millwrights, and all the tradespeople who help keep the equipment going here too.
Safe to say it takes an army to make this place.
12 to 15, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, there you go. You're wondering where it goes in Prince George. You're number 1, you're number 2. It all goes through here. Let's go have a look and see what we can find today. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Shane, tell me about what we're about to see here in step 1.
We're going to head out into the headworks area, which is where we want to be removing all the bigger solid pieces with our bar screen system at first, and then we're going to be heading on to grit, where we're going to want to remove the settleable solids out of the system, and then we're going on to primary treatment, where we're going to be removing all the fog, fat, oils, and grease out of the system.
Okay, it's kind of like panning for gold. You got to get through the thick stuff to get to the bottom, right?
In a sense.
Okay, well, let's go find the gold.
And yeah, you were kidding when you said this was the stinkiest part of the operation. Yeah, I am mouth breathing right now. That's normal? That's okay?
For me, I'm used to it. It's okay, yeah.
You go nose blind even here?
Yeah.
Okay.
14 years I've been here, so I don't notice it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this first part here. What's going behind us? There's a lot of running water. It's noisy. It's smelly.
Yeah. So the water comes in just behind us here, and we're going to be going through our bar screens first. We have 6mm bar screens, so anything larger than 6 mils we'll be pulling out. Compacts it into a rag system, so we're pulling out all the rags, any of the inorganics right away that we can. We want to get all the inorganics out of the water. That's what the bar screens are doing. After that, it's going to go to a grit removal system, which is your sand, silt, sediment, all the stuff that can get washed off and into the system. We want to get that out. So you're seeing bubbles in there because it's aerated. So you aerate it so that the sand, silt, sediment will float to the bottom. They have slope bottom floors on the tanks.
Oh.
So the sand, silt, and sediment will float to the bottom, roll to each side, and then there's a corkscrew conveyor at the end that will pull it to a grit pump. After that, we're going to grit pump it to the other side of the plant, separate the sand, silt, sediment, grit from the water, put that to a grit cyclone separator, and we're going to take that to the landfill. So after that, we've kind of removed all of our inorganics from the bar screen. We've removed all of our sand, silt, and sediment from the grit chambers here, and then we're going to go through to our primary sedimentation, where we're actually going to start dealing with removal of the fog, the fat, oils, and grease, or treating of our primary sludge.
Okay. So if you were a piece of corn, does the road end here?
No, that
That goes a little bit further.
that's the very end, the very end of the line.
I know those are pesky.
You'll see that at the end of the line, yeah.
I like to make this fun, you know?
No, that'll be at the roto strainer at the very end.
Oh, look forward to that, people. Woo-hoo. So I had a question because I was looking here going, well, where are all the floaters? You know, I was expecting to see some nasty stuff, and you had a good fact here.
Yeah. I asked what percentage of water to solids do you think is the ratio?
And I thought it was about 50-50 maybe, but it's not.
No, it's not. It's 99% water to 1% solids. That's something a lot of people get misconstrued about wastewater. No, it's more water than anything like that. All the solids, if you ask me why we're not seeing solids, any inorganics we can are getting removed here. Everything's sinking there. Other than that, now we're on to our grease and our sludge. The solids to water ratio is 99 to 1, so not even.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Yeah. So, and then this is primary treatment. That's what you were saying.
This is primary treatment. These are primary clarifiers.
Okay.
So the main function of a primary clarifier is to separate the water from the fat, oils, and grease on the top, and then deal with our good sludge on the bottom. Our sludge is not a bad thing. Sludge is what we send to our digesters to turn into biosolids. We want to use that. We want to create our final end product of biosolids out of that.
It's kind of like a factory in a way, eh?
Yes, absolutely it is.
You don't think about it, but it is.
So these tanks are as long as they're down to the end of the walkway. They're that long.
This goes all the way that way?
Yeah. and we're getting this right here on the top is fog. This is fat, oils, and grease. Okay? Fog will float, so it's sitting here. These skimmers tip automatically every 30 minutes to each side. It'll just skim the top couple inches of layer. We remove the fog. Same thing, send it up to the other end of the plant. It'll separate it from the water, and that's going to get sent to the landfill. These tanks are 24 feet deep. On the bottom of them is we're going to keep a sludge blanket. That's what that measurement device is there, is to measure the sludge in the water. We like to keep a 2-foot sludge blanket on the bottom. There's these big mechanisms going along here. They're called flights and scrapers. They go the whole way down to the end, and that's what's pulling the sludge down from that end to here. And then at the bottom, you can't see it in here, same thing, there'll be a slope bottom in the tank, and there'll be crude sludge pumps down at the bottom. They're going to be pumping the sludge through our digester. That's where it'll go through the digestion process of up to 30 days. Break it down and separate it into our solids.
Okay, so this now, do you notice on Sunday mornings when everyone's having bacon and they dump down their grease, does this get really thick?
No, it doesn't. It's always consistent. It's consistent because you wouldn't know the difference between that, because it's going to all the, there's 33 lift stations around town. So by the time it gets through the whole lift station process of pumping from this one to this one to this one to getting here, it's not within the same day process. It's all mixed up. You can't decide that. What I could see, and a fun fact for that is, you do see on my trending the, say, halftime of a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You see a spike in
Really?
pick up. Yes, absolutely. Or Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Wow.
You could see that. But not anything in that sense. No, fog is consistent. It's consistent in that sense.
There you go. The more you know. Okay, on to the next step.
Yeah.
The whole point of this tank is to promote the settability in the secondary clarifiers.
Okay.
So water's going through our trickling filter, and it comes out of the trickling filter and it rolls through this tank. So we have our trickling filter effluent going into here. Then I told you we have that arm skimming around the bottom of there, pulling off our good healthy sludge.
Yep.
We're sending that back into here, so we're mixing the good healthy sludge in with the trickling filter effluent to promote flocculation. That's the whole goal in the second.
Flocculation.
Flocculation.
What is
It's
it,
the
Back to the Future?
it's the proper word. If you're adding an additive like alum or something, that would be called coagulation.
Okay.
Because you're using an additive. If you're just using your natural bugs and everything in that sense, it's flocculation. We want to promote the flocculation to promote the settability in the secondary clarifiers, because if it's shearing, that means your flocculation is coming apart. You're gonna have all these floatables in there, and that's gonna be going over my V-notch weirs you just seen.
Yeah,
and
you don't want that.
That's the last form of treatment. So if
Yeah.
it's shearing apart, I get permitted in levels of BOD, biochemical oxygen demand, and TSS, total suspended solids. That would shoot my TSS up if it's sheared apart. So when I say we want to promote the flocculation settability in here, that's further reason is it can't be flowing over those V-notch weirs at the top, or it's
Right.
going to shoot my TSS levels up. I'm permitted to 30 milligrams per liter of TSS.
Gotta be.
So it's got to meet that. That's why you need to promote that into there, the settability and the flocculation holding everything together. If it starts shearing, it's going to break apart, go over my weirs, and shoot my levels up. I'll be breaking permits, and we don't want to do that. So the main thing we're checking in here is DO, your dissolved oxygen levels. Your dissolved oxygen levels, you want to be between 1 to 3 milligrams per liter.
Okay.
So we always want to keep that in there, because you have bugs in here. You have your good bugs in here, and you have your bad bugs in here. Your good bugs it's a food to microorganism ratio. That's what this whole thing operates on. So you need enough food to microorganisms. You need enough good bugs to bad bugs to eat, but at the same time they need oxygen. If you give them too much oxygen, they're gonna die. If you don't give them enough oxygen, they're gonna die. If you don't give them enough food, they're gonna die. So it's a balancing action. It's a food to microorganism ratio is what you balance this on. So we are checking our DO levels. The food, we can tell otherwise on color base if that's gonna be going sour.
Now, when it snows and it's winter, does the stuff you have to worry about it freezing or no?
Nope, never. Not the secondary clarifiers, none of the exposed tanks. All the water, think of it, is coming out of your homes. It's always going to be, whether it's a hot tap on or a cold tap on, it's going to be at a room temperature by the end once it gets through the line. And water's always moving. Nothing's sitting. If water sat stagnant here, sure, it'd freeze. But
it's
no, I've been working here for 14 years, and we all know who live in Prince George. It gets pretty cold here. We get a minus 30. Sometimes we get a minus 40 a week. I've never seen anything freeze here. No, it's always moving. From the start of the plant to the end of the plant, the retention time of the water is about 8 hours, really. So
Really?
yeah, from start to end of the plant. Now the solids is different because there's a 30-day retention time of the digesters, but start of the plant to end of the plant, you're about 8 hours for the water course path.
Yeah.
So no, it's moving so fast, and it's already at such a warm temperature from being within room temperature, nothing freezes here.
My pea spends 8 hours here. That's it.
Yep.
Think about that.
It's true.
Interesting. We'll keep moving.
That's the BFE channel, biofilter effluent. So now we're taking our effluent out. It's going to pump it into that tank there. And then there's these pumps, return biological sludge. That's the sludge we're pulling off the bottom of the secondary clarifiers, and that's why that line goes there, and it's going to pump it in there as well. So we're mixing the BFE and the RBS, and then we send a little bit through that yellow pneumatic valve back to the start of the plant. That's the little bit of good, healthy sludge we send to kickstart up the sludge at the start of the plant.
The other cool thing is the size of these pipes. I think people would be surprised.
Oh yeah,
the size. Like,
absolutely.
These are huge.
Yes. 170 liters a second.
170 liters a second.
That's what the pumps are running at right now, yeah.
Oh my God. That's a lot of orange juice.
Yeah.
Or Gatorade.
Yeah.
Or milk.
We also, you'll see stubbed in the walls there. It's for future expansion. If we ever need more effluent pumps, influent pumps, RBS pumps, the stubs are there. We just need to do the piping and purchasing of the pumps.
The more you know.
Yeah.
This is crazy. It's like the Taj Mahal.
It is, with wastewater on the other side of you.
All right, now we have reached the point of a bit of a waterfall here. It's kind of satisfying to look at.
It is, yeah.
What would you call this step what of your plant?
This is the final portion of water treatment in the plant.
Okay.
There's still the solids handling side of the facility here, but this is the last part of treatment for the water. This is called the secondary clarifier. So the effluent that you're seeing going over the weirs right now is what's going to be heading to the river.
Okay.
It looks a little less right now, it's all based on head pressure. So the flows in the morning will be coming up more right now. These are V-notch engineered weirs.
Okay.
So they're at a set amount of flow coming in. So right now the flow on a Friday afternoon is a little bit lesser, so you're going to see less going
People
over the
heading out
weirs
of
here.
town.
Exactly.
Okay.
But the last thing we're doing, just like the primary clarifiers, is if there's any fog still, little bits of fats, oils, and grease in the system, we're going to be skimming it off the top. All of that gets sent back to the start of the system. And then
Kind of
after,
looks like algae almost. Eh?
a little bit, yeah. And you'll notice it's darker there in the middle. It's because the effluent here at this point is coming in through the middle. It goes out through separation weirs. That's why they're cracked open like that, so the flow doesn't come and short circuit anything. You want everything to move slowly in here. So it comes in through the middle, the next port. Then we're going to be skimming here. Then the water still has to hit naturally pressured over to the outside of the weirs there to flow over.
So this is not just a big round tank. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on
under.
here. These are big tanks here. They're up to 30 feet deep. They have a cylindrical bottom on them. The other thing we're doing, just like the primary clarifiers, we're getting stuff off the top, but there is still sludge in the bottom here. Not all the sludge from the front of my plant does go straight to the digesters. It'll get through. At the end here, we like to call it it's your healthier sludge. So as that arm's going around on the bottom of the tank, there's also an arm going around pulling off the sludge out of there. We either send that to mix it back to the tank just before this to promote settability in here.
Yeah.
You want everything to settle more because you don't want it floating around loosely there. So you want to promote your settability, your flocculation of the binding together. Then we send it back to there, and then there's a wasting rate where they also are sending it back to the start of the plant because your older, healthier sludge here at the end kickstarts the younger sludge at the start of the plant into its activity form. So we send it back to there and it'll all get used. It's always a recycle form. You're never letting any sludge go out. So you use it to promote settability in here or send it back to the start of the plant and reuse its bugs.
Is it kind of similar to having like a good stomach? Is that your
Very
your
similar.
gut health?
It is, and that's a funny way, but actually the digesters there is actually what they say is simulates a human stomach. I mean, it's digestion, it's mixture, it's heat. We keep them at 37 degrees. That's the same temperature as the internal human body. So that's exactly what the digesters actually are, is the human stomach.
Okay, that's where we're headed next?
Yes.
Okay, let's go do some digesting. Part of our job, of course, featuring inside city limits, different city facilities, is providing a little bit of advice because we like to make your jobs a little bit easier where we can and help people learn how to do that. So what would your advice be to someone out there watching?
Well, so we work with the source control division. They're in the environmental division. They work under my supervisor. So we work hand in hand with the source control division. And their main thing is to try and let the public know what to and what to not flush down your toilets or drains or anything like that. So I hate always using the words pee and poop, but you know,
Yeah.
the only pee and poop is supposed to go down the toilet. Other than that, you don't. I know everyone knows the main one of like, don't pour your bacon grease down the drain.
Yep.
You're not wanting to put any of your any inorganics down there. I mean, feminine products,
Yeah.
like stuff that.
That really that hurts here.
Absolutely, it does. And the same thing can be said about our men's product, as condoms and stuff like that. Anything there, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to all go into your trash. You're really not. Pharmaceuticals also can be a really bad one there. People think lots of time people dump out their old medication.
Yeah.
It absolutely can throw off the balance of the water in there.
Huh.
So it's no medications. None of your fats, oils, and grease. Any fats, oils, and grease produced within your house to not flush down your drains at all like that. Feminine or male product, hygiene products of any sense.
And the one thing I've heard a lot that you find here, jeans.
I mean, clothing, yeah, absolutely. But like, you'd think that would be
I
a
know, you would
no-brainer
think.
there. If that does manage to get through your portion of the pipe and you didn't clog up your house, great. You are going to clog up one of my pumps at one of my lift stations. So
That's a good way to think about it. It's not just your house you're worried about. You're worried about the whole system.
no, yeah, you are worried about the whole system. If it did, you know, you do risk flooding your house. But if not, you risk taking out our lift station, which affects you and your neighbors in the general area.
There you go. We did our due diligence today. There is your piece of advice. Pretty simple to follow, I think. But there we go. We did our part. Good job.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we've stepped away from the liquids. Now we are in a place which is very important to the success of, well, what,
Yes.
Shane? Every lagoon, everywhere, everything?
All the wastewater samples, yeah, and checking the productivity of our plant. You know, from the raw, the primary, and the final sample points of our there. We need to know how our plant is operating at the effluent coming into it, how it's being treated in the middle, and how it is at the end. All of our permitted values, we need to know that. So it is done here by our in-house lab tech.
Okay.
And yes, this is to make sure absolutely all the lagoon samples are being done here, and that the plant is running within its proper.
And this is every single weekday you guys do this?
Yes.
And there's a standard, right? Like this is a standard that must be done.
Yes, there's our permitted values, and then there's different tests my lab tech would do throughout different days there. She's not maybe doing the same test every day, but she has a certain amount of tests she has to take weekly. She'll decide on the schedule of that, and then always our permitted values are the number one important ones.
Okay, so what are some things you're looking for? There's some things here, some specific things that you need to keep an eye out for.
Yes, we're permitted on BOD, TSS, and coliforms there, so that's the ones there. We have to be under our 30 milligrams per liter for BOD and 30 milligrams per liter for TSS, so we're always checking that first. Same thing with the coliforms, we have to check that, but we're checking it in our raw, like I said, and our primary and our final to find out how much is coming in, how much we're removing. We know how our process is working in between. If for some reason, we do that constantly so that when you know when something goes wrong, that when in the middle, this spikes up, something has gone wrong within our process, so it can be an identifier before we're breaking permit at the end, right? So outside of that, those are our permitted value levels. Other than that, there's bunch of other samples our lab tech will be taking, but ammonia, nitrates, nitrites, orthos, toxicity tests, do an LC50 test, and
Okay.
several things like that.
You're a chemist. This is a cool place to be. Is that right? Yeah, chemist, right?
That's right.
Lab, of course. Okay, let's go learn about solids here as we take a little bit of a break. This is just crazy, the academic work that has to happen inside a wastewater treatment plant.
Yes.
A+. All right, so at this point, think about your P being gone. We're dealing with the number 2 over here.
We're in the solids.
We're in the solids,
Yes.
in other words. You guys talk it all fancy words.
Yes. So we've finished the water course path of the tour, and the solids get sent. We're pulling all the solids. That's the whole point, is separating solids from the water. We want to get good, clean water quality going out to the river, separate our solids, get them running through the digestion process, and turn them into the biosolids at the end product there. So all the sludge is getting sent here. It's going into the number 1 digester, and naturally it'll transfer over into the number 2. Number 2 digester is where we run our centrifuges out of to dewater it with a polymer into the final biosolids product. The digesters kind of simulate a human body, realistically. You need heat.
Yeah, that's what you were saying,
You need heat and mixture. So, you know, we want to keep them at 37 degrees, which is the same temperature as the internal human body. It gets the best digestion purposes. So we have 4 sets of pumps in here. They're for mixture around the edge there, and then the heat pump is still mixture as well, but we have the ability to heat and keeping it at that 37 degrees. Other than that, they have a 30-day total retention time, roughly 15-day retention time in each of the digesters. Once it hits that retention time, we're pulling it out of there with our centrifuges and turning it into our biosolids.
Biosolids, which we will hold in a little bit. The corn. This is where the corn ends up.
No, we get it before here.
Oh, okay.
We actually skipped that one. It's out
With the
of
dump truck.
You want it, yeah. You don't
Okay.
want that in your biosolids. You don't want that in any product. You want to remove that out.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go. So the corn's journey's already over.
We could actually talk about, though, one other thing it said in here is the gas production.
Oh,
So
yes.
I
Yeah,
missed
you're
that.
going to tell me about that.
We create our methane gas in here. So you see there on the torch that we have a wasting there. Any methane gas that we're not using, it is getting wasted off right now. We're actually in the talks of how we can utilize it with the RNG renewable gas and Fortis and them in that sense. We're just trying to come to a deal of how to reuse the wasted gas.
Yeah.
But all of the gas that isn't wasted, we utilize within our plant here. So we use all of our own gas in here. We run our boilers off our methane gas.
Wow.
We do in Prince George, we get to those -20s and 30s temperatures. Sometimes it's not enough. So at that point, we wouldn't be wasting any gas because we're utilizing 100% of it. And then we can also supplement in natural gas when we can't keep up. But for, I mean, at minimum 10 months of the year, we're making all of our own gas in-house and utilizing it in there to heat all of our own abilities, heat our sludge, heat the building, everything like that. So we'd only need to supplement in natural gas in the really cold temperatures.
Interesting. Okay, the other thing that we were talking about is, because I was like, oh, are the lids on these, if you were to look in from the top of this building, what would you see? You see they were floating, and you don't want oxygen in there.
They're anaerobic digesters,
Yeah.
so they have a seal around the edge, naturally seals. The roofs are floating because the levels can go up and down in there, but it's a sealed lid. You wouldn't be able to see any of the sludge in there because an anaerobic digester has to be sealed. That's how you create the methane gas in there within the gas pockets.
And if gas or oxygen gets in there, bad, boom.
Not quite, but it could be in a worst case
Yeah.
scenario. Yes,
Okay,
it can
yeah.
be. Yes.
Don't want that.
No.
Cool. Okay. Well, we've talked about the water, the liquids. We've talked about the solids. We're going to see where the biosolids end up. Have we covered almost all of it here, Shane?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just about.
Just about. Well, we'll see where the tour takes us next. Okay, you're wondering what you are looking at here. I'm actually going to grab some, Shane. You said I could do this.
You can do that.
Oh, it's really hard. Crusty?
Because it's covered. The other stuff's wet over there.
Okay, well, this
Yeah.
is interesting. This is, you call your end product.
Biosolids. So this are biosolids. This is sludge. Once it's gone through the digesters and their 30-day breakdown, then they get run through centrifuges, which with a polymer injection in there gives it the stability to hold the sludge together into this form there while removing the water out of it. We want to get it to a moisture level below 25%.
It's dry.
Yes, dry factor there. So this is what we have. These are class B biosolids there.
Okay.
And we have a company who comes in, we source it out to them. We sell our biosolids in enough to offset the cost that for the company that we hire to do there. And they are spreading it at local farms. The farms, because it's class B biosolids, cannot be used in any agricultural use. So
Gotcha. If they're
Well-
growing tomatoes and potatoes, you're not gonna.
not going to be for that,
No,
no. But
no.
anything unagricultural use that's not going to be in human consumption, this can be used at. And there's a lot of local farms who literally fight over this stuff. We produce,
Wow.
on average, about 3,000 tons of it per year.
Holy.
Yeah, 3,000 tons is
Okay.
how much we're doing a year. And
3,000 elephants, I think.
Yeah.
Is about a ton each. Yeah.
they all biosolids get used up. And like I said, sometimes it's a fight over it. But a couple farms out to that direction and another place out there, and they're all using this, and it gets used up every single year. And then what you're seeing here is the new
Yeah.
biosolids cover
I do
built
wanna-
over it.
Want to touch on this for folks wondering, why does the smell seem to get better recently? This is one of the reasons.
Well, hopefully we're going to find out at the end of summer the
Yeah.
biggest one to that. But yes, unfortunately for the past of always, all the biosolids created here were stored outside, which you guys will just see outside of this cover here. It snows 6 months of the year. How much rain
Yeah.
happens in Prince George? It's going to sit there. It's going to create this crust layer over it, and all the moisture is just sitting inside the biosolids. So when we go to haul it every summer there, at the end of summer, they go scoop it up, and all the off-gassing happens. So this is one of the first projects I made when I became the chief here, is to let's
Yeah.
start covering our biosolids. This is the pilot project of it.
Yep.
There, the other half of the biosolids pad is still uncovered because we want to see how this year goes. It should make our costs cheaper for hauling, and
Yeah.
it should absolutely help with odor for the citizens.
Yeah.
I know it will already, but we want to see it happen here in real time. So this summer will be the big test of how this works out hauling out of the new cover there. If everything's a success, we're going to be building the second cover right beside it and have the whole biosolids pad covered, and it will help with odor and hauling costs.
Amazing. Look at these guys at work. They do amazing things. I kind of, to put it into plain people's terms, if you didn't understand that, it's kind of like your grass clippings. You let them sit for a while and they get exposed to the elements. Then in the inside and the core, they smell like junk.
Yes.
These? I don't know.
It shouldn't smell like really
doesn't
much.
smell like
It
anything.
shouldn't smell much like anything in here.
That's the closest you'll ever find me to.
Yes.
Yeah. People will be like, I can't believe you just did that. Yeah.
It doesn't smell like anything in here.
No, that's
Yeah.
it. Just the end product, folks.
Yeah.
That's it.
But the cover's full, as you can see, and we still got a bit more left in the year. So we've been storing outside, and I think once we prove this success and we build the next one, it'll be a lot better in a year from now.
Because there's no days off for you. There's no days off for toilets, flushing, this plant.
365 days a year, and we work 7 to 3:30, but then right after that, someone goes to on call, because if a call out's ever going to happen, it's going to happen in the middle of the night.
Of course.
In the worst weather.
Well, thanks for the tour today. This has been great. This is just a great episode inside city limits of the most important piece of infrastructure, facility, piece of the city you're ever going to find. Thanks, Shane.
Yeah.
Explore inside city limits on CKPG today. Brought to you by the City of Prince George. Follow us online, download the City of PG app, or subscribe to city newsletters to stay up to date on what's happening in your community.